When it comes to traveling, I think the more you see and the more you experience, then the more it changes your perspective on the way you live and your perspective on the world. So it started with a white van, seated up to 10 people, heading to an unknown place no one in my family has set foot in. It was that day. We were on the road, killing time by playing I Spy, listening to the same annoying music on the radio, and eating bags of chips and gas station food. Uncomfortable seats that make you sit too straight, getting annoyed with your siblings, and getting bored looking at trees for hours on end are some side effects of road trips. Where are we? I have to go to the bathroom. Can you change the radio? When are we going to eat? These are only a few things I heard while sitting in our van driving hours on end. Millions of trees blur into dark green streaks across the side of the road, then hills start to roll with forests that turn to cornfields. Cornfields turn to wide open plains filled with cattle and empty barns scattered throughout. The talking amongst the car becomes only a few comments here and there, and then a few sleepyheads begin to doze off. It's a few hours later and we find ourselves in a beautiful town in Indiana or Kentucky, somewhere around there. At this point, I'm not actually sure where I am. We had stopped at a local bakery shop to get some food right across from the Jif peanut butter factory. We bought a dozen glazed donuts the size of my head, and I think they were the greasiest, most sugary thing I've ever eaten. It was the best donut I ever had. After our little visit in Kentucky, I think, we got back on the road again. The three girls, my sister Olivia Francis and I, sat in the back. My other sister, Sophia, and my two brothers, Simon and Connor, sat in the middle row. We tried watching movies on our small movie player, but only one or two people could watch since there was only one plug for headphones. But other than that, we didn't have anything else to really do other than sleep or listen to crappy music. At least, in my opinion, it was crappy. The next couple hours I try to sleep, but of course I can never sleep on a moving vehicle or I get sick. So I keep my eyes closed until we end up at a hotel to sleep and clean up, then start the process all over again the next day. We are nearly there, heading to the town of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We were not in Michigan anymore. This was the total opposite, besides the fact that everywhere you looked, there was water. There was plenty of that there. It was rocky, with roads carved in the middle of mountains, with streams and rivers running along every road. There were waterfalls where the cliffs of the mountains dropped the water into a river from all the snow that was melted from the mountain tops. I was in awe. But now we had to get to our cabin. We had to drive up to the mountain to get to it. I didn't even know where to look. It was all so new to me. I've never actually seen a mountain before this close up. I mean, I've seen mountains. There are plenty in Arizona where I practically lived the whole time, but I haven't seen one close enough to actually be able to climb it, or rather be living on it. Okay, here we go. We've checked in and now we are heading up to our cabin. These roads were scary as hell. If I were driving, I would have drove right off the edge. These roads were muddy, hilly, of course, since we were on a mountain, and had no safety rails. If my dad made one wrong turn, or if someone had been coming the opposite direction, we would have been rolling down that mountain. Since I'm alive today, you know that we've made it to our cabin with no flaws. Our cabin was literally a log cabin, with only 2 rooms and a basement, with 2 couches that folded out to beds, and a hot tub on our deck in the back. We stayed for 4 days, and it was life-changing. My experiences included ziplining, whitewater rafting, tourist attractions, aquariums, hiking, and lots of food. This trip made it life-changing for me because my family was involved, and if I was alone trying to travel, I would have probably lost my mind. This trip was an important part of my life, and I know that might sound cliche, but it's absolutely true. I've always had a pretty big family, but now since my parents have been divorced for a few years, it has doubled. Right now I have approximately 7 siblings, 2 moms, and 2 dads. I never imagined my life to turn out the way it has right now, and I haven't asked for much better. And this trip I've been talking about has just made my family even closer, and we definitely learned a thing or two from our experiences. I've seen this world in a whole new way, and I didn't even travel that far. The important part isn't based on how many miles you travel, it just depends on how much time you spend with the people you love. Even if you can't travel, or don't at all. We've all laughed, smiled, and fought, and maybe even a few tears were shed, but no matter what happens, we will all be there for each other. Even through those lovely family vacations, it can be annoying, maybe even boring, but your life won't be the same after experiencing something like this. You will always keep the memories.